need to answer this because we all know your answer anyway, but will you allow me to ask a series of questions leading to a question that I don't know your answer to? And the simple question, again, we all know your heart, but just the question is so I can lead someplace. You would not fire somebody because of the color of their skin. Obviously, no, right? You wouldn't fire somebody. I don't.
Right.
I know that's a snap answer. I'm sorry. I just want you to say no to that, please.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I have made clear.
You've made clear because you've hired interns. You've talked to me about friends. I know that's the case, and forgive me, I'm not even questioning that.
So
you would not fire somebody because of their gender, obviously, right?
So I've made clear my efforts to achieve as best I can in the ways I can as a judge.
And so just because of my time, I heard about numerous of my colleagues, even on the other side of the aisle, asked you to go through your hiring, and I just know that's your heart, and I'm not challenging that, I'm not asking that, I'm just trying to lead someplace, if you'll allow me. So you know it would be wrong for someone else to fire somebody just because of the color of their skin, right? It would be morally wrong.
Congress is, of course.
It would be morally wrong. It would be morally wrong, right?
In the civil rights laws.
Can I ask you, just not as just person to person, human being, the dignity of a human being, it would be wrong to fire somebody because of the color of their skin.
Right, and I understand that. I think my record.
It clearly states that, echoes that, as
Yes.
it has been stated numerous times. I'm not challenging that at all.
Yeah.
Would it be wrong to fire somebody if the person found out, hey, I just found out this person is gay? Would it be wrong to fire that person?
Senator, in my workplace, I hire people because of their talents and abilities.
Right.
All Americans, all Americans.
So maybe I can shift then. Morally, you think it's right to hire people, it doesn't matter their background. For someone to fire someone just because they're gay, now maybe we shift to the law now. Do they have a legal right to fire somebody just because they're gay, in your opinion?
Senator, the question, as I'm sure you're aware, of the scope of employment discrimination laws being litigated right now, and therefore, well, I'd like to talk to you about this more. Because that issue is in a variety of cases right now, it'd be inconsistent, as I'm sure you're going to understand.
And I guess my Senator Harris, Senator Coons have all brought up these issues. Loving versus Virginia has been mentioned. The Obergefell case has been mentioned. And I think that there's a lot of folks who have real concerns that if you get on the court, folks who are married right now, really have a fear that they will not be able to continue those marital bonds. And we still have a country where if you post your Facebook pictures up of your marriage to someone of the same sex, we still have a majority of states where that employer of yours finds out that you had a gay marriage and that you're gay. The majority of American states, you can fire somebody because they're gay. And I guess you're not willing to tell me whether you personally, morally now, think that that's right or wrong.
So, Senator, I'm a judge, and therefore, with the cases that you're well aware of, I know, pending in the courts about the scope of the civil rights laws, the employment discrimination laws. Of course, Congress could always make those clear.
Okay. And that's what I want to get to the point, that you won't give me a moral answer because of the pending cases, and I've heard that.
Well, right, and I don't want to in any way.
But so maybe I can ask you about your concern when you were in the Bush White House. Did you have any involvement in Bush's effort to support a constitutional amendment to ban same-sex marriage?
So, Senator, when I was in the White House, that was part of the something that he talked about. Of course, at that point in time,
did you express an opinion about it then yourself?
Yeah, as staff secretary, things related to that speeches he gave would have crossed my desk, as I've discussed before.
I'm not privy to your documents at that time.
Right.
Did you ever express your opinions? Did you ever express your opinions about same-sex marriage in those documents that I do not have privy that will one day come out?
I don't recall. Of course, at that time, as you're well aware, Senator, there's been a sea change in attitudes in the United States of America, even since 2004, as you're well aware.
But you're not willing to tell me about your attitudes then. And again, you could change. I mean, we had President Obama evolved on that issue.
Right. And
so will you tell me your attitudes then about it?
I'll tell you that there was debate in the White House. Vice President Cheney came out, one of the few times he came out and publicly disagreed with
I don't need to know Cheney's opinions. What are your opinions on the issue?
I'm sorry, Senator, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there was debate in the White House about what President Bush was doing. Of course, as you said, President Obama,
That was his word evolved on the issue. But your opinion, I don't need Obama, Cheney, just will you express to me your opinion on same-sex marriage?
I don't recall.
I'm not asking your opinion then, I'm asking your opinion now. Do you recall your opinion now on same-sex marriage?
Well, the Supreme Court in Obergefell.
Sir, your opinion. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get the record. I don't know if you've conducted gay marriages. I don't know if you've been to gay marriages. What's your opinion?
I'm a judge. I apply the law.
Have you conducted a gay marriage?
Have I conducted one?
Presided over one, officiated a gay marriage.
I have not.
Okay. But you don't want to tell me your opinion on that issue.
I apply the law. The law of the Supreme Court.
So you're going back. I want to move on as quickly as I can. Sir.
The law of the land protects that right, as dictated by the Supreme Court.
Can I just turn really quickly your views on the criminal justice system? A lot of my colleagues have referred to this speech last summer at a conservative think tank you called Chief Justice Rehnquist, and I quote, your first judicial hero. Rehnquist was one of the most conservative justices, but you said, quote, about him, Rehnquist fervently believed that the Supreme Court had taken a wrong turn in the 60s and 70s, when the court made a lot of really landmark decisions, whether you, Gideon versus Wainwright about access to an attorney, you had the assurance that police officers can't violate your constitutional rights and then turn around and use that improperly gained information, the exclusionary rule, the requirement that police officers taking you into custody have to give your Miranda rights. You praise Rehnquist's efforts to limit and halt, that's your quote, halt these critical protections. You said that it, quote, righted the ship of constitutional jurisprudence. And so do you think he took a wrong turn that we had taken a wrong turn by establishing those rights?
No, that's not what I said, Senator. And the fact that we haven't discussed exclusionary rule Miranda over the last 24 hours is a sign of success of Chief Justice Rehnquist in helping the Supreme Court achieve a middle ground that's endured, and it's not really controversial.
Well, I think we haven't discussed it. At least I haven't had a chance to ask you about it yet, and my time is running out. So just tell me if any of these were wrong turns. The exclusionary rule, wrong turn or not?
Supreme Court has...
Your opinion, exclusionary rule, wrong turn or not, is that settled?
I apply the precedent...
You can't tell me it's settled. What about the Miranda warnings, settled or not?
The court, can I get 2 seconds?
No, not unless you tell me your opinion. I know what the precedent is. I know this law very well.
Senator, I think the witness is entitled to answer the question.
In Dickerson, the court reaffirmed that's precedent on precedent.
Sir, he's been allowed 6 minutes at the end of my one time. I know he's going to get a chance to answer my questions. I'm just trying to get them all out, so when he has the 6, 7 minutes at the end. You said Rehnquist made our criminal laws more workable. But the question really is, this is a quote from you, sir.
Criminal law, singular.
Criminal law.
I think.
Criminal laws, but maybe criminal law in general. I have a real question about workable for who, and you understand the disparities in our criminal justice system.
Yes.
You understand that we have all the data shows that that people based upon their financial status, based upon their the color of the skin, often have different experiences in the law. Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Senator.
you know that. I know you know.
We've talked about that.
Yes, Brian Stevenson says we have a criminal justice system that treats you better if you're rich and guilty than poor and innocent. We have a real issue with that. You and I have discussed this.
Yeah, that was a good conversation.
I appreciated that, and I've got 2 minutes left for this conversation. So let me just really quickly get this out because I'm going to then let you respond. And that's the challenge for a lot of Americans right now, which is they really believe that the scales are different. We have a system now where we don't even really have jury trials in criminal cases anymore. And that was something that's very fundamental to our criminal justice system is the jury trial. But the scales have shifted so much that you see now, in fact, there's a great book, which I didn't know that senators were going to be giving you books. I would have given you a number of them. I will.
Happy to get them.
I'm going to give you
your recommendations.
I will give you A New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. I'll give you.
I clerked with Michelle Alexander.
I'm grateful to give you these books, but let's keep going on because you're doing a good job of getting me allowing me not to get to my question. And I've got a very, very diligent chairman that's going to cut me off in 1 minute and 10 seconds. you know right now that we have a system that seems to be shifting away. Why Innocent People Plead Guilty is another book that's worthy of reading because of criminal defendants and the power shifting. And so that's what raises that question to me about the rights of criminal defendants. And it seems to be that you're indicating that you are in favor of what Rehnquist said, that those rights of criminal defendants somehow got out of control, that they're making more workable. And the question I have is workable for who? And it seems when I look at a lot of these issues, as a guy, like you and I both have talked, you talked about a lot of your city and the violence. Yeah. I was a mayor of a big city, every single day working to try to keep my city safer. So I know about public safety as you do. And I believe that these systems, these laws are making us less safe. They're destroying communities because at Yale, they weren't stopping and frisking kids on the way home from parties at the Toad looking for drugs.
Right.
They weren't getting the same treatment, those kids, and there was a lot of drug use at Yale. And so I hear you saying you're praising Rehnquist, who is making these laws more workable. And I just ask you, workable for who?
Judge, do you want to answer any of those questions?
I'll try to give about a 1 minute on this. I understand, and we had a great conversation about racial disparities in the criminal justice system, and we talked about ensuring confidence of all Americans in the fairness of the criminal justice system and the American legal system and the court system and the Supreme Court. And I appreciated that conversation. I would just note 4 things. The note I wrote in law school about detecting race discrimination in Batson hearings, my opinions on acquitted conduct that have been used to enhance sentences, and my opinions that that is often unfair when acquitted conduct is used to jack up sentences far beyond what the offensive conviction would be. Third, my opinion on mens rea in the Burwell case. I strongly would encourage to take a look at that because that's part of the fairness and due process case. And I understand your perspective, and I enjoyed our conversation, and thank you for that.
And if I can get the same treatment that Senator Blumenthal got, I'd like to, can I just read some things? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm holding a number of letters in opposition to the nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to be Associate Judge. They're letters from the NAACP, multiple healthcare groups around the country, Voto Latino, the Women's Lawyers Guard. There's a number of very esteemed religious organizations, the AME Church's representations here, the Congressional Black Caucus, and others. I'd like to submit those in the records. And just in honor of Mr. Sass, because I have a tremendous respect for him, and I actually agree with a lot of what he was saying about free thought and what's happening in this country. I just want to ask the person a friendly question that I would love to read any book that he has to recommend. If he read any book, if the judge would read any book I recommend, I make that offer, and all just as an extension of good faith.
I would. Without objection, they'll be made part of the record. For the record, Senator Durbin is one of the most prolific book recommenders I know in the Senate. I've benefited greatly from his recommendations of fiction and nonfiction alike, and so I would suggest that.
Does that extend?
You recommend we go back to Senator Durbin.
Senator Corner, does that go to me? I would love to do a book exchange with you, sir, as well. Maybe that can help.
We'll start with this morning. Okay.
Oh God, please don't do that. In that case, I just, for the record, retract my comment. That's pretty thick.
We'll go to Senator Flake.
Thank you, Mr.